This is Healthy Living on Foursquare TV. My name is Kehinde Akinlolu. On this episode, we'll be discussing breastfeeding and its benefits. I have a medical doctor who will be helping us in this discussion. But before the discussion begins, we'll go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is Healthy Living on Foursquare TV, the show that is all about your wellness. Like I said earlier, I have a medical doctor, Dr. Sandra Ohale. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you very much.
So moving on to the discussion for today, breastfeeding. Can you tell us what breastfeeding is?
Okay. Simply put, breastfeeding is a process whereby babies are being fed with breast milk from the mother, because there are other options of feeding a young infant or a neonate, but the best recommended is breast milk.
And can you tell us the importance of breastfeeding?
Yes, breastfeeding is a very important means by which the young human is nourished with nutrients needed for growth. And so it's not just beneficial to the baby, it's beneficial also to the mother, and it also has social benefits. Now, to the baby and mother, it helps them to bond.
Okay.
It increases the bonding. And then it's also for babies, it helps to prevent neonatal deaths. Now, according to statistics, it's been proven that about 820,000 neonatal infant deaths will be prevented if they are being breastfed. Okay? So, apart from that, it also protects against respiratory tract infections, from gastrointestinal infections. It increases the baby's immunity. It also helps in development of the brain for the baby, and then it reduces episodes of where you have jaundice. Okay. There is a substance in the breast milk that also helps to increase motility, intestinal motility, so such that it protects against neonatal jaundice. Though there is a type of jaundice that is caused by breast milk, but that is not life-threatening. Okay. Yes. Okay. So for benefits to the mother, it helps to protect her from bleeding. Okay.
Bleeding.
So, yes, bleeding. Wow. Postnatal, what happens is the hormone that's been produced in the brain that helps with breast milk production also helps the uterus to contract. We call that uterine involution. Okay. And so it reduces postpartum bleeding. That's bleeding after birth.
Okay.
And so and then it helps it to go back to the pre-pregnancy state. It also helps her to get back to the pre-pregnancy state where it reduces so that she has amenorrhea. So, and then it also long-term benefits. It protects the mother against cancers like uterine cancers, ovarian cancers. Okay. And more often than not, it also helps to prevent against depression. Postpartum depression.
So, doctor, please tell us the benefits of breastfeeding to the society.
Okay, so to the society, it's less expensive. It's food that is ready anytime at the correct temperature in the correct amount and way that it's able. The baby can have it when needed. Then it's less it produces less waste.
Yes.
Okay, and then it's actually so on account of all this, we advise the WHO and other health bodies have strongly advised for mothers to try to keep to breastfeeding as much as is possible.
All right, moving on. How do you know that your baby is getting enough breast milk? Is there a certain time, like how many times a day are you supposed to breastfeed, or how do you know that your baby is getting enough breast milk?
Okay. When the infant is born, their size, the quantity that they are able to, the stomach volume is not that much. Okay. So they feed for lesser time, but much more. So the bigger the baby grows, the more the volume of the stomach increases, the longer time it takes. Now, how do you know that a mother has established breastfeeding? We know when the baby as the baby is sucking from a breast, the other one starts to express. So she notices that the other breast is also expressing breast milk. Also, when you look at the infant's mouth, you see a pool of milk at the sides. Okay, and that should also tell that yes, she has really established breastfeeding.
Okay.
Yes.
In a situation whereby the baby refuses to take breast milk, what can we do, or what can arise from that situation?
Okay, so different things can actually cause a baby to refuse, in quotes, breastfeeding. Babies naturally, say when when a baby is born, it's better to ensure that there is a skin-to-skin contact with the baby, with mother and baby. That way, you can establish breastfeeding. There is also an inbuilt reflex by which the baby is able to crawl up to look for the breast just within hours of being born. Okay, and the better you start that bonding, that rooming in is what it's called. It's better. Okay? Even if they cannot latch. Latching means the process whereby the baby's mouth is well positioned around the areola of the breast. If they cannot latch well, if the babies were born with some defects, okay, such that there is an opening and so the baby can latch well, that could also cause the baby not to be able to feed well, and so the baby could be crying and be impatient and all that. Okay, also you could also have preterms, babies born before when they are really mature. So those ones might not be able to feed directly. So there are also methods. That one, the mother is encouraged to express. Okay, and then there are various ways you could feed the baby. Most times through passage of a nasogastric tube. Okay, and that could help baby to feed. Okay, or orogastric tube.
Oh, okay. In a case where the baby seems to eat all through the day, is the problem of is there a problem, or will a problem arise that the mother is not producing enough milk?
Yes. You could also, yes, it's possible that the mother, though, like I said earlier on, when the baby is born, the baby doesn't need much.
Yes.
Just 5 to 7 meals is enough for a feed. So it takes just 10 to 15 minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes, and the baby is well fed and starts to sleep. Okay? So now, when a mother notices that she cannot produce enough breast milk, she will notice that it's taking the baby will be wanting to latch on more, yet would be looking more dehydrated, weak, maybe crying and all that. And then she notices, even when she tries to express, it might not be enough. You have situations like that. It could be from a result of stress or emotional factors. Okay, she could also, for example, might have gone through a surgical procedure like a cesarean section, and she's just recuperating. Okay, so all that could amount to psychosocial factors that could reduce breast milk production.
Take a break from your regular TV and fill your mind with inspiring, qualitative, and entertaining content suitable for the whole family's enjoyment. Broadcasting hope and life-inspiring messages from the Word of God. Foursquare TV is rich in life-changing and soul-lifting content, timely word of exhortation and word of knowledge delivered by our fathers in the Lord. Soul-lifting praise and worship that gives you that heavenly experience. Make a positive switch to life and enjoy Christian drama and informative content. There's never a dull moment on Foursquare TV. Decoders are available without subscription fee, and you have access to over 120 channels. For more info, please call 0803-304-6713, 0703-028-8661, and 0802-301-0696. Foursquare TV, life in full.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. Today we are discussing breastfeeding and its benefits. Moving on, doctor, I would like to ask, in a situation whereby, like you mentioned earlier, mothers notice that they're not producing enough milk, what can they do to help?
Okay. Now, the process by which breast milk is being produced is all hormonal.
Okay.
With some social, psychological factors also affecting it. So, like I said earlier, a mother would, it's possible that she's stressed or has undergone a kind of stressful event, and then she's not able to put the baby well, or the baby is not latching well, because it's the shock reflex that actually tells the brain it is time to produce the hormone, which is oxytocin, needed which is needed for milk production. Okay? So now, when the breastfeeding technique, for example, is wrong, the reflex will not stimulate enough breast milk production in the mother, such that she notices that she is not able to feed the baby to full. That the baby is not full because the baby is not getting enough breast milk.
Yes.
Okay, so what can she do? She can get help. She
Okay.
can go to the hospital. They can teach her how to do that. Okay, and then if for example, she's still she needs some drugs that could also assist in milk production, that could also be recommended by her doctor. She could also learn to the right technique and how to make sure that she is in the comfortable position, because if the baby is going to suckle for as long as possible, she should be comfortable enough. If she's not comfortable in the correct position, she could develop a backache, side ache, and all that could also affect.
All right, doctor, you mentioned a lot of techniques to breastfeeding. Can you tell us some how to breastfeed, the proper position, the proper techniques?
Okay, proper techniques. Okay, first of all, we should encourage the mother to relax on a sofa, a chair where she is able to balance her back well, and then if, for example, she can't get her feet to be relaxed, she could put a pillow underneath and make sure that the baby's stomach is opposite just hers. And then they are facing themselves. So she cradles the baby in a way, we call it the cradle position. Cradles the baby in a way that the baby is up and closer to the breast, not her breast sagging and baby down, no. So that way she's able to bring the baby in a position that the baby is easy for the baby to latch on to the nipple, and then the whole of the baby's mouth should cover the areola, which is the dark part of the breast, not just the nipple. So when that is established and she's able to keep that position comfortable enough, she's able to breastfeed well. Then another thing you could have, and we call it inverted nipple, where the nipple is not as pointed as people could latch on. It could also cause difficulty in breastfeeding technique. So that one also could also be attended to.
All right. So in a case of, or rather, to help nursing mothers, what food can they take that will help them in breastfeeding? Should they stay away from certain type of foods, or is everything good to go?
Well, in every society, there is a balanced diet, a staple food where this that is healthy enough that the mother should take. There is really no hard and fast rule to say take this or don't take that. But the important thing is, for breastfeeding mothers, they should not be on medications except unless required. Because most medications are secreted in breast milk, even in small amounts. So apart from that, in every society is different. The important thing is she should be on balanced diet, she should be well hydrated, and she should try and rest. Yes.
How about alcohol? Some women like to take red wine. Is that good for?
No, it's not good. So it's advisable, if she has had a quantity of alcohol, she should space the breastfeeding, the next breastfeeding, at least 2 hours after. So in that way, you could reduce the exposure of the infant. but it is not advisable.
It is not
Smoking,
advisable.
drinking is not advisable when a woman is breastfeeding.
All right, all right. The next question, doctor, is exclusive breastfeeding. We've heard a lot of that exclusive, like I'm practicing exclusive for my baby. So I want to know, what are the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding, and in some cases, do you think giving the baby water is necessary or there's no need?
Very good question. What is exclusive breastfeeding? Exclusive breastfeeding in itself is when a baby is being fed only breast milk for 6 months, at least 6 months, okay? And it is actually enough. All the nutrients the baby needs, the carbohydrate, water, the vitamins, the micronutrients, everything is contained in breast milk. And so you don't need to add water per se, especially if the baby is well fed. Is when a baby is not well fed, or maybe a baby is sick, like vomiting, stooling. You even add breast milk because it's a way of hydrating the baby. So breast milk has all that is needed, required, okay, for a baby to grow well.
Okay.
Apart from some places where, like America, where they request that the babies be given vitamins like vitamin D, okay, calcium. But apart from that, breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, is just breast milk. When you add water, it's called predominant breastfeeding. When you add infant formula, it's called complementary feeding.
Okay.
So it's not exclusive. Okay.
All right. Some ladies believe that, if I have smaller breasts, that means I'm producing lower milk. And do you think that is true? Do you think that bigger breast means bigger milk for the children?
Okay, that is a misnomer. The breast size has to do with fat content and not the alveolar ducts and all that is needed, like the first ducts by which the milk is being stored when it's produced in the body. Okay? So it's not the size. The size has to do with the fat deposition in the body, and not the amount of breast milk that can be produced. Okay,
so that's like no.
Yes.
Doesn't matter the
size.
Doesn't
matter the size.
All right. Thank you. All right, thank you, doctor. If a mother is sick and she's on drugs, do you think breastfeeding her child will be beneficial to the child, or when she's sick, she has to stop breastfeeding?
It depends on the type of ailment that the woman has. But most times, for common ailments like flu, malaria, she can always breastfeed her baby. Okay. So except when you have cases like a woman who is HIV positive, okay, and then the viral load is really high, okay, she is not encouraged to breastfeed. Okay. And then, but most times when she's ill, there are very small instances where you should discourage breastfeeding. Apart from that, she's encouraged to breastfeed. Okay.
All right. What are some challenges mothers face when they are breastfeeding?
Oh, the number one is not enough production, sore nipples. Okay. Where you have the sore nipple, where you have mastitis, where you have the breast being inflamed, from infected ducts, and that could really be very painful. She will come down with a fever. It could become really sore. It could start producing pus. She might need an incision. So it could be very, very, and then the hours of sleep is reduced because she has to feed her baby. So it could be very distressing.
All right. So solutions to these problems that you mentioned.
Okay. So the important thing is she should try and rest as much as possible. Okay. Like for example, if she has fed over the night, she should try and get enough rest if possible. If she's a working mother and she wants to keep to the breastfeeding that is being advised, she could express and keep at room temperature. So breast milk is okay at room temperature for up to 6 hours. Okay, in the refrigerator is okay for up to 8 days. When it's frozen, it could take for some months.
Wow.
Okay. So
I didn't know that.
they are encouraging. It's encouraged because it's possible to keep to it, even though she's not around. She could try, okay, but it's not easy. It's an uphill task. But mothers that have done it have their testimonies to it. Babies fall less sick. They don't have to miss work oftentimes to go and care for a sick baby. Okay, so it has its advantages.
All right, thank you very much. The very last question for today: how can a mother take care of her breasts during breastfeeding? What are some things she has to do to make sure that maybe her breast is clean, or just general taking care of her breast?
Okay, the important thing is personal hygiene, well grooming, have her bath as often as possible because she'll have breast milk spilling on her and it could be very, very, very discomforting. Okay, and then because breast milk is rich, you have bacteria, microorganisms very ready to, get multiply easily on her skin and all that. So to reduce infection on her skin, she should have a bath as much as possible. Try and get good underwears that could make it easy. Okay, try and get breast pads, especially if she's lactating fully, so that she doesn't have breast milk spilling on her clothes. Okay, then try and she could apply lubricants like ordinary Vaseline, Blue Seal. Okay, and apply it on her nipples so they don't get too sore as the baby suckles.
Thank you, doctor. The next question I have is: a breastfeeding mother is still obligated to her husband to perform some duties, some marital duties, which is also having sex. Do you think that having sex with her husband would affect her breastfeeding, or maybe affect the baby, in turn affect the baby?
No, it won't. It will only make her tired. But like I said earlier on, breastfeeding, when the correct technique is used, especially if she's doing exclusive, she can go back to her pregnancy state, okay, having lactational amenorrhea, meaning she can have a form of birth control method, which is not so reliable, except it's strictly adhered to. I think the technique is strictly adhered to. So it doesn't interfere with her feeding her baby at all. It has advantages. It's actually advised for her to continue her role as a mother and a wife.
Okay. What do you think owns the breast, the father or the child?
That is a really funny question. I would say the baby.
The
baby
baby
needs to be nourished to a well-grown adult. Okay, and there are so many benefits that the baby has when the baby is breastfed. Okay, exclusively. The breast milk in itself has cognitive properties that help in the brain's formation, such that you hear when you see people that are breastfed are very intelligent. It helps in brain formation. There are so many things it does on the body. Protects the infant from infections. The father, on the other hand, is already an adult and doesn't need all that. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much, doctor, for your time today.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we can take on this episode of Healthy Living. Till I come your way next time, remember to stay healthy. My name is Kehinde Aki.